Let me first express our deep gratitude. We're really honored that you are all here. I think the meeting is going to be shorter than usual because we haven't had lunch, we haven't had breakfast. So it's good for you. It means we'll answer questions very quickly and very short. We've had so many meetings. I arrived early this morning and then I was asked to go to this beautiful fan zone at the university. 48 African countries have got students at this wonderful university in Rabat, and they've got a beautiful fan zone, met many ambassadors. I think there were 48 African ambassadors. And at this university, they've got 88 students, and the remaining 40 are from different parts of the world. So I landed at 7 o'clock and I had to rush there quickly for this meeting. And we had an exco that had a lot of exciting issues that were discussed, and we took very, very important decisions, and I will brief you on those decisions. And the first thing we're going to do when we leave here is to have, is it breakfast, Veron, or lunch? Have lunch? Okay, maybe we'll start with breakfast. A huge amount of gratitude from us in Africa to have our brother Matthias, the General Secretary of FIFA, and also we had a meeting with Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, who arrived this morning and joined me and joined all of us in the meeting we had with the 54 African member association presidents who represent 54 African countries. This is an exciting day. It's a historic day. For African football, it's also an exciting day for football throughout the world. Because for us, football is of course what happens on the full field of play, and we've always known that Africa has got some of the best players in the world who've been recognized over many years, but we've made significant improvements in football on the continent, and the quality of football that is being played on the continent. We've got 190 countries all over the world that will be watching the AFCON live. And we're very proud of what Morocco did in Qatar. Enormous pride. For the first time, an African nation qualified for the semifinals, and we are confident that, of course, our focus now is on the most exciting competition on the continent. And partly why Matthias and Gianni are always here also with me is because, and with us, is because we believe that an African nation will indeed be champions of the world. And we're very proud that next year when we go to America, Canada, and Mexico, the objective is we were in the semifinals now. The next step from the semifinals is the finals. But as I said, we'll talk more about that after January 18. We took a very important decision today, and I need to brief you on those decisions. Let me start with the easy one. We've increased the prize money from $7 million to $10 million. So the nation that wins, the country that wins, will get $10 million. We increased it. Initially, it was less than 5, and we took it to 7. So if you win, you'll get $10 million. And there's a key objective as we move forward. We will continue to increase the prize money for the most important competition in Africa. We've also taken decisions to significantly increase the Champions League and the Confederations Cup. But we're not going to announce them today. I wanted to announce them, but I have to listen to the smart people around me, and they said, please, they're not playing anyway until after. So we will announce the significant increase in the prize money of the Champions League that we took today, and the significant increase in the prize money of the Confederations Cup that we also took today. We'll announce them after January 18. one of the most important decisions that we took today, the president of the Egyptian Football Federation, at the end of the meeting, stood up, very emotional and very excited. He said, President Moutsepe, I just want to tell you, the decision we took today, which I'll tell you about, in my 20 years of being involved in African football, this is the most important decision. We've never taken a decision in the history that Hani Abarida, the president of the Egyptian Football Federation, and of course he's excited that, like all of the other nations who are here, everyone is excited that they're going to win. Every one of the 24 say, President Idris said in the meeting, the EXCO meeting, I'm going back to Cote d'Ivoire with the Champions League, with the AFCON Cup. I'm here to defend it. And Senghor said they want to take it back to Senegal. And so this is the excitement. But the issue is that nowadays there are no small nations. But let me tell you this very important decision, because after the president of Egypt said, Mr. Hani Abarida said, this is the most important decision in the history of African football, and he said he can comment because he's been in football and in EXCO for the last 20 years. And then the president of Sudan said, well, I've been part of EXCO since 2010. I've been part of African football, and this decision is more important than any other decision. It's a revolutionary decision. Now let me tell you what the decision is. We've had lots of discussions to restructure, reposition our competitions, and we're talking particularly about the competitions of the African nations, and also we've had very good discussions. You will remember in Addis Ababa, I announced this $1 billion over 8 years plan that we have for African football, and to make sure that every nation in Africa will get $1 million. You remember when I became president, they used to get 200,000, and then I doubled it to 400,000, and the objective is to make sure that every single one of the African nations get $1 million, and a significant amount of money of the $1 billion plan that we've announced over the last 8 years, over a period of 8 years that we announced in Addis Ababa. We've been having discussions, and the interest has been significant. And whereas I was keen to close the tender soon, there was a huge amount of interest expressed, and we had to follow, of course, the legal process. And we had to reopen. I was given the authority at the last meeting, and we had another meeting today, to reopen the two tenders. And let me repeat, the money that will be going to African football, a significant amount of that is for youth development. It's for young boys, young girls, academies. It's to make sure that we contribute to club football in every one of the 54 nations becoming globally competitive. For the first time, we gave 13 million. So every one of the 120 clubs, football clubs that participated in the Champions League and in the Confederations Cup, each got 100,000 to help them with the transport. But as I said, the 1 million is part of making sure that the CAF competitions, African competitions, are world class. And we employ the smartest and the best in the CAF office to ensure that we really have the smartest and the brightest, the smartest young men and the smartest young women. So we are going to reopen. In fact, we took a decision today to reopen the AFCON 2028. It was we had it for AFCON 2029, and part of the discussions was to change it to AFCON 28. And before I give more information, is to also emphasize that we have a duty to the African players that are playing overseas. And we want to make sure that in all our competitions that we are, of course, our primary duty is to African football and to the 1.5 billion people on the continent, but we also have a duty to these players in Africa who are playing in some of the best football clubs in the world and in Europe. And we want to make sure that the global fixtures, the global calendar, and this is where Matthias and Gianni have really done excellent work, that there's more synchronization, and the global calendar allows the best African players every year to be in Africa during the window as part of this new competition, the African Nations League. So the African Nations League will result in every year. What is new is that every year in Africa, there's going to be a competition every year where the best African players who play in Europe and worldwide will be with us on the continent. It will significantly improve and increase the quality of our competitions. And as I said, we are launching a new competition called the African Nations League, which will take place starting September, October, and the finals will take place in November. And we've divided Africa into 4 zones or 4 regions, as you may say. The northern zone or the northern region, which will consist of 6 nations, 6 member associations. The eastern region will consist of 16 member associations, 16 nations. Western region will consist of 16 nations as well. And the Southern African, Central and Southern African will consist of 16 countries as well. But what is significant is in this competition every year, because it's going to take place during the window, during the FIFA window, you're going to have the top African players will be released to participate in this competition. What it means is there'll be more commercial attraction, more money will go into this competition, more sponsors, more partners, and this competition will be doing it in partnership with FIFA, because FIFA's presence and partnership attracts the biggest companies, not just on the continent, but worldwide. We're doing well on the continent, but we want some of the biggest companies from all over the world have got very good operations on the continent and want to be part of African football. So the next AFCON, our focus now is on this AFCON. But just by way of information, in 2027, we'll be going to Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. The AFCON after that, as part of this restructuring of the global fixtures, of the global football calendar, will be in 2028. So we've opened a tender for all of those countries that had put in a bid for 2029. We said it's going to be in 2028, because in 2029, after the FIFA Club World Cup in America, Canada, and Mexico, we will have the first African Nations League, as I said, where the best African players from all over the continent and from all over the world and from Europe will participate, and we will decide where the final is going to be held. But you're going to have 54 nations, 54 member associations participating in the African Nations League in the different regions. And then in November, there's going to be one country. And this country is where the winner, the champions of each of those regions will meet, either in West Africa or East Africa or in North Africa. And as I said, more prize money, more competition, more resources, better infrastructure. And this will contribute to one of the objectives we've always had, the development of stadiums, football infrastructure, world-class facilities for football to take place in each of the 54 countries in Africa. So the next AFCON, as I said, after 2027 will be in 2028. as part of this arrangement, because what's going to happen now is you'll have the equivalent of an AFCON every year. You'll have the best African players in the world participating and playing in African football at the highest level on the continent every year. We, in discussions with all our stakeholders and taking into account the global fixtures, the AFCON now will now take place once every 4 years. Because historically, the AFCON was the prime focus where we could get resources to fund African football. In terms of this new dispensation, we will be getting resources every year. We will have, as I said, remember that the CHAN had initially had about 16 nations, and I increased it to 18. This competition will result in 20 nations, the African Nations League. You will have the 16 and I'm looking mainly in, as I said, the 16 is West Africa, East Africa, and Southern and Central Africa. And of course, in the North, there'll be 6 nations. But it is unlikely that the first African Nations League final will take place in North Africa, because we've got a lot of competitions. And of course, EXCO has to decide, and we will look at the bids. But remember, part of what we will be focusing on is Morocco 2030 will be hosting the world on behalf of the continent. So the significant new development is new resources, additional resources, more financing for the African Nations League, for the AFCON, for African football. And what we're excited about is we've opened the tenders today, and the partnership with FIFA, and Matthias has been an integral part, and so has Gianni, to look at these fixtures. Because I don't want to be involved in discussions as I've always had to with Europe. Alexandra is my brother, Nasser is my brother. I've got African players playing in North America. I've got African players playing in Asia. And we also have a duty. I'm told Sunderland, for example, there's about 5 or 6 of their top players who are African players who will not participate in the competitions in their club, because, of course, all of us have an emotional bond to our continent, and the same applies to players from all continents in the world. So we've got the most exciting new structure for African football, which will contribute to sustainable financial independence and financial self-support for the African continent for many, many years. Partly why we were so excited is because, whoever's going to be the new president after I'm not president anymore, and whoever's going to be part of the new EXCO, all of us have had the honor of being part of this new legacy, this revolution in African football. And the new leaders, whether they're the new leaders in EXCO or the new president in CAF, who will take over from me, will continue on this exciting legacy that all of us have built. So it's a significant development, and we're excited that we are announcing it in Morocco, in this country that has really made a huge contribution to the development and growth of football on the continent, as well as what excites me is whenever I'm in a country where the head of state and the government loves football, supports football, works together with the football leadership. This is something it's a culture that we are trying to build in every one of the 54 nations. We've said that for us, football is what we are passionate about and what we love. But we've also believed as for us in African football, football is an important tool, an important instrument that brings our people together, that unites our people. from different ethnic groups, different racial backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, and different cultures. And tomorrow it's a celebration. It's a celebration of the best of African football. It's a celebration of the best of Africa coming together. And on the field of play, showing our people and the best in the world that we are world class. And it's recognition of the huge amount of progress and success that has taken place over many, many years, including those who were there before me, who've made contributions to African football. I'm enormously grateful to them. And I'm enormously grateful to the 54 presidents, the member association presidents, who've made enormous contributions, and to my vice presidents, and as I said once more, to Matthias, the Secretary General of FIFA, and once more pass our regards and gratitude to Gianni, and to the Secretary General of CAF, who works very hard, and I try and increase his salary, and he works so hard that I don't think the salary on his own will be enough. And sometimes I say, just thank you. He says, but the thank you doesn't mean you shouldn't keep trying to increase the salary. So we have to do both. And also to the staff. Lux, you guys have done excellent work, and every single one of the staff members, Christian, all of you. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll take questions, and I don't know who's going to win. But I can tell you, listen, hold on. When I left, I was in Abu Dhabi, and I had to go to South Africa, and I was in America, and I had to fly back to Dubai. And every time I asked them, is it raining? And my wife said, just focus on the things you can control and leave the others in the hands of Allah. Leave the others in the hands of God. So the weather is okay, but this is indeed a celebration of African football. And I want to thank the media. Can I just say, our commitment to you is to make sure that we are as helpful, and we can assist you to make sure that you do your work in the most comfortable and the most convenient way. And they must provide sandwiches and coffee and tea, and you must criticize us where it's important, because we need to know from you what are we doing which is not so good. I've had complaints about the visa. People said, please, President, we've had challenges with the visa. A huge amount of progress has been made because, Morocco is enormously committed and is welcoming all football supporters and spectators. There's been an abnormal amount of people from the diaspora and from different parts of the world who want to come. And I can assure you, the authorities in Morocco, and I can say that because I know the General Secretary has been in touch. And this morning, I was with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and with our brother Nasser, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and with our brother Fauzi, to really, Moroccan hospitalities, we are home. I'm home in every one of the 54 countries in Africa, but I'm very proud of the hospitality and just the warmth with which we have been received. And the authorities in Morocco, as our brother Fauzi is saying, is doing everything possible to make sure that everybody who wants to come here, come to Morocco, come and watch football. You are welcome, and any assistance is provided to you. Lux, the media says you are looking well after them, and you're helping them with transport as well. Transport. His bonus depends on your happiness. So, it's in his interest to make sure. And I'll tell you why, because the media all over the world, but particularly in Africa, performs such an important function. For of course, for us in football and in the sport that we love, but also to keep our people informed. And as I said, we've always seen our duty as football leaders to contribute to the development and growth, both economic and social and financial of our societies and our communities. And of course, football makes a significant contribution to job creation and, as I said, to uniting the people on the continent.
قبل المغادرة لا تنسوا الاشتراك في قناة العمق المغربي وتفعيل الجرس ليصلكم كل جديد، ولا تنسوا مشاركة الفيديو والضغط على زر الإعجاب.